Pittsburgh studios at WHIG, it's Up Late with Sam Bass.
Thank you, Scott Smith. Hey, good evening and welcome to Up Late with Sam Bass. Our guest tonight is Benton Moss. You may know him from Simmons & Harris, Metro Maintenance, or his most recent venture, TC Media. I'm very interested to hear about that. He's also appeared with my friend John Check on his show a couple of times. And so I'm feeling like tonight's going to be a pleasant change for him. So I do have a clip where Benton was on there one time. I want you to take a look at this. I really want you to check it out. Benton, it looks like he may have fallen asleep there, but don't worry, that kind of happens all the time on that show. You might have figured out by now that John Check is kind of my nemesis, if you will. But you know, if you think about it, I got a better set. I'm certainly better looking. I've got more talent and more entertaining. And I have to admit, I do throw a jab at him every now and then. So I was thinking, bear with me. Come back to that. Have you heard about this feud going on with Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg? Or some people call him Leon Musk, but it's Elon. It's apparently been brewing for years. These guys are at each other's throats. They want to get into a cage and fight. It's reportedly that Elon Musk has been training. Zuckerberg's been doing some jiu-jitsu. So we'll just have to see whatever becomes of that. So I'd like to go ahead and say right now, John Check, I challenge you to a cage match. No. We're going to take it off the set and into the cage. We'll see what happens. Don't worry, folks. I'm just kidding around. John Check is actually a really good guy, nice man. I really appreciate him being a good sport and letting me play with him a little bit. And that brings me to my next top 5 list. We call it top 5 because it's not quite as good as 10, but it's the top 5 celebrity feuds that I would like seeing turned into cage matches. Okay? Number 5. Sylvester Stallone versus Richard Gere. Now, years ago, they were making the movie Lords of Flatbush. I never knew that Richard Gere was on this movie, but there was some kind of an altercation where Richard Gere spilled some chicken grease accidentally on purpose on Sylvester Stallone. They kind of got into it a little bit and said maybe we ought to put some chicken grease in the cage, maybe let them fight it out with rubber chickens and eggs or something. But that's number 5. Number 4, Martha Stewart versus Gwyneth Paltrow. Now, this one started with Gwyneth Paltrow started her own lifestyle business. And of course, that meant trouble for Martha. That's competition for Martha. So Gwyneth hit back. Martha got a little ticked off at her, started mocking her a little bit. Gwyneth hit back with making a jailbird cake to try to mock Martha's time and a little short stint she did in prison. This is pretty childish for 2 grown women to do, but and I think it's probably possible if they do have a cage match that Martha has a special friend that will join her in the cage. We'll see about that. The only weapons they're going to be able to use is stuff from the Gwyneth Paltrow Goop catalog. Yes, I said Goop. Or Martha's cookware collection. So, Robbie, are we going to be able to put some pictures up of that stuff? Goop. Number 3, this might be my favorite. Elton John versus Madonna. This one started about 20 years ago when Elton John insulted one of Madonna's songs, accusing her of lip syncing. And at some point in time called her a miserable cow. So there's so much more I could say about this that I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to do it anyhow. You know, Madonna, if you've seen her lately, she looks like that creepy doll in that movie Megan. And I recently saw Elton John on TV, and this is true. Oh, no. I thought it was Mike Myers playing Elton John. And now I realize it really was Elton John. So I think we put these two in a cage and let them put on some of those dog collars, you know, so they don't injure themselves when they have surgery. Maybe they're biters, who knows? But that's number 3, Elton John versus Madonna. Number 2, this is another good one. David Letterman versus Jay Leno. So, years ago when Johnny Carson decides he's going to retire, his personal choice was David Letterman to take the job. Jay Leno and David Letterman were good friends, and Jay Leno has been on his show, but NBC, instead of giving it to Letterman like Johnny Carson wanted, they gave it to Leno. So you notice some bad blood there. So what we should do is put these two in a cage and make them watch my show, and then maybe NBC will realize that maybe I should have been the one they chose, not those losers. Okay, which brings me to the number one celebrity cage match feud we would like to see. Me, Sam Bass versus, guess who? John Check. It's going to happen. We'll be right back with Benton Moss. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm back, and as promised, I've got the man with me, Benton Moss. Benton, welcome to the big time, or as they say in baseball, welcome to the show.
To the show.
Yeah,
it's a
this
pleasure
is the
to be
show.
here, Sam.
Well, I'm glad to have you, man. You're a great guy, and you're really good in the community. Everybody knows Benton. If you don't know Benton Moss, you don't know anybody in the community because he's everywhere. Before we get going here, I want you to give a little bit of your background with your family, that kind of thing, and I know you played on the high school state championship baseball team here, went to Carolina, those kind of things. Tell me a little bit about you.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be raised in the city on the rise, Rocky Mount, North Carolina. My wife and I are both from here, grew up here, were raised here. I went to senior high. I was a public school kid. My wife was a private school gal. She went to Faith, and I had the opportunity to play on the varsity team when I was a freshman. I couldn't hit, couldn't field a ball, couldn't really catch that well, but I could throw. And so I figured, I'll try my hand at pitching, and I was okay at it.
So my research tells me you had a pretty mean curveball.
It was pretty good.
That's what you were kind of known for, is your curve.
Yeah.
So, when I was a young guy playing baseball, that was my problem, hitting the curveball. I was always thinking it was going to hit me.
Same.
That's right.
That's why I pitched and I didn't hit.
There you go. So tell me about your family.
So I've been married 8 years coming up this November. We've got 2 young daughters. One's 3 and some change. The other one just turned 7 months. So we're thrilled to be back in Rocky Mount. Moved back a couple years ago, and I don't know if I'm everywhere, but I try to get out in the community, and I've enjoyed getting to know people that are new here and reconnecting with old folks that I've known for a while.
I see him everywhere I go, folks. Seriously, I saw him yesterday eating lunch.
It just means, Morgan, if you're listening to this, it just means I eat out too much, okay?
Okay. So your business is Simmons & Harris, Metro Maintenance, and now you have a new venture, TC Media. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Simmons & Harris and Metro are real estate related. Simmons & Harris being a property management company. We do leasing or commercial leasing and brokerage. Metro also services a lot of that portfolio from a mechanical, electrical, plumbing standpoint. Most of our business for Metro is homeowners or business owners as well. I got to give a shout out to all of our team there.
You got a great team.
While I may own those businesses are nothing without the people that work there. And I think for a lot of people in the community, they know Ronnie and Donnie, Mickey, some of our more senior, Greg Smith, some of our more senior technicians that have been there for quite a while. Mike Green just retired. He was an electrician, HVAC technician there. They know those guys well. And then the ladies in the office are, A+. So got to give them a shout out. Without them, there's really no business there.
Right.
And then the Twin County Media venture is totally separate. It's just something that I really wanted to start to highlight all the good things that are going on between Nash and Edgecombe counties. The 2 biggest things when we moved back here that we kept hearing were, I don't know what's going on here. And then, have you seen this headline for the day, or have you seen that, right? Most of it being negative.
Right.
And our goal is just to inform people of what is going on in the area, and then to highlight all the positive things that are maybe not getting so much media attention that they deserve. So.
Right, and that's really important. And when you come back to your hometown community and you can make a difference in your community, it's very important. I know a lot of people really appreciate it. And the TC Media, if you're not subscribed to that, I get it every day in my inbox. It's one of the first things I read. Make sure you check it out.
Yeah,
TwinCountyMedia.com. I hate to say check it out, but make sure you look at it, read it. So I saw something interesting. You actually worked on Wall Street for 2 whole weeks?
Yeah, a couple of my buddies, if they listen to this, they'll laugh. They'll say that I had the shortest analyst career on Wall Street, but that was after my senior year. I didn't really know. I graduated. I got drafted after my junior year, decided I want to go back, finish my degree. Didn't know if I was going to get drafted again to play professional baseball, so I just went ahead and started the Wall Street route.
So you weren't exactly the Wolf of Wall Street.
Absolutely not. No, I saw a lot of crazy stuff up there, but yeah, no sir, not Jordan Belfort.
So, so why did you leave your Wall Street job so quickly?
It's a good question. You know, sometimes you have these turning points in life, and you always wonder, you know, kind of what if, or what would happen if I would have gone down this road or that road. And I'm so thrilled and thankful that, you know, my wife and I and our family's lives played out the way it did. Even though I didn't make it to the big leagues, you know, I got close, played with a lot of big leaguers. That we can talk about that. But I remember the day I got drafted. I hadn't told anybody in my group. We sit in these, they're called bullpens actually. The bullpen. Long rows of computers.
Pitcher to be at, right?
Yeah, future professional pitcher. But I remember I got drafted, and my managing director comes over to me. He's from Carolina, and he was like, "Hey man, I just heard the news, and I'm either gonna fire you, or you're gonna go play, but you're not staying here because this will be here. You got to go take this." And I just remember, you know, talking to my fiance at that point, you know, my now wife, and we were just kind of like, "Hey, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and they're giving you a good." You know, they're drafting you in the 6th round, so they must think something of you.
Right.
So we decided to take the leap. So
while you were playing baseball, you've told me before that some of the guys you played with are still playing professionally.
Oh yeah, a whole lot of them. Before we leave that, I distinctly remember that day too when I walked out. The associate that was, you know, kind of overseeing the intern pool, she was this really nice British girl, and she was like, you know, I don't think I understand. So you're quitting? And I'm like, I don't want to use that word. You know, like, can we not use that word? And she said, well, but you do understand that this will impact your offer letter at the end of the summer, right? I'm like, no, you don't understand. I am quitting. Like, I'm going to play baseball, but I'll talk to you in however many years, 5 years or whatever.
That's actually a pretty good British accent. I can't do that.
Well, I did spend some time around some Brits. So,
there you go. So, you know, if you're around them, I guess you pick it up. But you did meet some of you went later and you interned for the New York Yankees, correct?
That was an earlier summer in college.
Okay.
That was through the academic program that I was a part of, the Moorhead Kane Scholarship. They had some connections to the Yankees. Jenny Swindell Steinbrenner, I think is her name. And so there were a few spots in their finance division. It's a glorious title. All it really meant is that I got to go down to the dugout and get all the sweaty jerseys that they were going to mark and tag, and then package them up and go, you know, auction off all the Mariano Rivera used game jerseys. So I got to, you know, get a lot of dirty laundry and tag them. And
so you didn't. But before you said something that I didn't want to slip by. You were a Moorhead Kane scholar also. That's hard to say.
It's a mouthful. Yes.
So you're more than just a good-looking, pretty-faced guy.
You know, I'm the smartest dumb jock. Let's put it that way.
That's pretty good.
You know, they had to have some token athletes, and I guess I was, you know, the smartest of them. But
I think you were pretty good.
Not saying much, but I was fortunate enough to get that, and it was life changing. I met a couple of my best friends in that program, and then just the connections and the people you get to meet, and the travel that you get to do, and internships. It's just a really awesome program. I volunteer my time as a mentor to current scholars, sit on some of the review committees, so it's a great program.
So when you were with the Yankees organization, you never met a guy named George Costanza?
No, but I feel like that name's familiar somehow.
He worked there for a little while.
Just a little while.
No, just a little while. Another thing that I thought was very interesting about you, your dad had a thing called the Circle of Balance when you were in college. Tell me a little bit about that.
So he would always tell me, you know, you've got this pie of how you allocate your time, right? And you basically have 3 buckets. You know, your social, your academic, and then for you it's your sports, right? I mean, most people it's just social and academic,
right?
Or extracurricular, I guess, is kind of the better way to put it. you've automatically got X percentage of that in sports. And you kind of get to choose whether you're going to put a lot more into social or a lot more into academics. You got to sleep sometime too.
Right.
And he said, choice is up to you.
Yeah. It sounds like you've made some really good choices in life, and you've been able to be a very busy guy in college. I was going to mess with you a little bit and find out how many frat parties you went to, but it sounds like you didn't really have a lot of times to hang out with those guys at Carolina.
If any of my former teammates were watching this, they would die laughing.
We'll leave it there, Benton. I don't want you to get in trouble. So you're a musical guy. You played the piano and acoustic guitar.
I did, yeah, I did. I took lessons from Lawrence Gehring at Church of the Good Shepherd for about 13 years. He's an excellent teacher, and those were fun times. I wish, it's hard to take a piano with you when you're traveling all over the country.
Right.
You're going to college, but the acoustic guitar is a little easier to carry.
I'm with you on that. I can say this, and you know what I mean. It's not like riding a bicycle, because if you don't do it, you'll forget it.
You will forget it, absolutely. There are a couple tunes that I can kind of mess around with, and I know basic structures, and can kind of listen by ear and kind of bang out basic tunes.
Right.
But you're right. If you're not practicing daily, it's going to be gone. It's like language.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I know you're a very competitive guy.
It's an understatement, for sure.
Understatement. And you do the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And now you weren't involved, you weren't the guy training Mark Zuckerberg, were you?
They wouldn't let me in there. They thought, I don't know, they didn't like my background or something.
Yeah, you're not going to help John Check, are you?
Well, I mean, here's what I'll say about that. I love Elon Musk. He's just a super interesting character, but my money's on Zuckerberg. I mean, he's been training jiu-jitsu for a while. Now, when it comes to you and John, you've got a firm handshake, so my money's on you. I'm sorry, John. The invoice, you can send me the invoice. I'll still pay it, but my money's on you.
Well, he's got me on the reach. He's a big guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm an MMA, or I like MMA. So you got some of these guys like Khabib, right? Short reach, but he just gets guys to the ground.
Just once I get him on
you just got to get him to the ground.
Yeah, once we get him on the mat, it's going to be over.
I can work with you. I can work with you.
So you heard it here first, folks. Benton's picks are Elon Musk and Sam Bass in the cage match. I'm not going to fight him afterwards, but you're picking Elon. No. You didn't say Elon. You said
I said Zuckerberg. I said Zuckerberg, but I did say
Let me put that down.
More importantly.
Okay, I'll have to put that down. So I'm getting confused over here. So Zuckerberg and Bass. Sounds like
That's my fight
somebody
card.
running for president or
Yeah,
something.
I want to know who's going to take the other side and what my odds are.
We'll have to talk to Robbie. Maybe he'll do it. But so I know you do a lot of stuff. You like to play poker. You're a golfer.
Too.
You play chess. Again, you're a very competitive person.
It's just one of those things, I have a competitive streak a mile wide. Yeah, that's just how God made me, I guess.
Well, that's why you're the person you are. I mean,
It gets me in trouble more so than it doesn't. Let's put it that way.
Well, I think you're doing okay.
Mostly with my wife.
Well, we won't go there either. But so I'm going to go back to the Yankees thing. So while you were with the Yankees organization, did you get to meet some of the guys with the Yankees, get to know them pretty good, and any celebrities or anything that you ran it with during that time?
I wouldn't say I got to know them well, but. So a guy that I did know fairly well, Adam Warren, was a UNC grad. He was on that team when I was interning. So I got to go into the locker room a little bit. I did get to meet Mariano Rivera. I got to meet Derek Jeter. Again, don't know him well. They wouldn't remember my name, certainly. But it was really cool I grew up watching Mariano Rivera pitch. He was my favorite pitcher.
Oh, boy.
And so that was just like, I didn't make it to the big leagues, but that was a kid's dream come true.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And he's about my height. He's about my height, 6'2". But when you shake his hand, I've got pretty big hands, but his hands would like wrap, around my wrists. His fingers were that long. They were huge.
A lot of pro athletes have huge hands.
Big hands. And for him, he threw the cutter, so, I'm sure that helped.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I got to meet a bunch of the guys on that team. They had a concert with Justin Timberlake and Jay-Z.
Wow.
That was pretty cool. I had to work that night, but we got to be backstage briefly, so I got to be close to him here, backstage. That was kind of fun.
Since if you're in these type situations, these type jobs, that's the kind of people you get to run up with. So.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's pretty nice.
That was kind of cool.
So another thing I was going to ask you about, you like to travel. You have been to 30 states. Or do you have a plan to go to all 50?
Oh yeah. There's one of my favorite professors at UNC. He teaches entrepreneurship, and he's visited I think there's 207 countries. I think. Don't quote me on that. If there's not, somewhere around
there's a
there,
bunch
200
of them.
plus or a bunch of them. I think more than 200. And he has his name's Jim Kitchen. He's been into outer space, I believe.
Wow.
So this guy, he's been everywhere, and that's the gold standard. I would love to try and visit, I don't know every country, but I want to get darn close.
Yeah, I don't think I want to get strapped to a rocket and launched.
He's been to countries that I didn't even know existed. I mean, he's been to every single one. I think he was on the Virgin sort of quasi spaceship.
Oh yeah,
came back. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I've been to over 30 states, mostly through baseball. Some through the internships and traveling. Like I went out to Wyoming for a summer. Been to Africa, Costa Rica, Nicaragua. Been through Europe a little bit. Yeah, I love traveling. We have 2 young kids, so I think I'll probably just be traveling to the beach for the next probably 10, 15 years.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all, sir. But,
well, maybe you could get all 50 by the time you turn 50.
That's a good goal.
That's a good
goal.
goal.
I only have about 20 more. So, and most of them are on the west side. So
What did you get? You've been to Hawaii already, right?
We did, yeah. We made a good trip there right before I retired from baseball, before we had kids, and that was amazing. If you haven't been to Hawaii, you should.
I have. It's as beautiful as anybody has ever said it is.
Yeah.
Have you been to Alaska?
I have not, but I have heard that it's pretty.
Yeah.
A lot of nature.
Well, those are the 2 hard ones to get,
Right, yeah, okay.
Getting out
Sure.
of the continental U.S.
Yeah, Hawaii we actually stopped over in San Diego for 2 days. We were supposed to go to a wedding for a former teammate of mine that actually didn't happen. So we got a full 2 days. That was like 2 weeks before we got there. Got a full 2 days in San Diego. Beautiful, beautiful place. The beach is beautiful. Balboa Park. It's a beautiful place. So it was nice to kind of adjust and then, travel to the big island of Oahu. Yeah.
So you went to Oahu, where Honolulu, Waikiki, all that is.
Right. We stayed in Honolulu, rented a car, got to go around the island, stayed there for about 8 days. It was awesome.
Yeah. So to me, that's my choice of islands in Hawaii. Oahu.
Okay. Have you been to Maui?
I've been to the Big Island of Hawaii and Oahu.
Okay.
And the Big Island of Hawaii is mainly volcanic activity. It's not as populated. There's Hilo, but there's nothing like Honolulu over there.
Right. Oh yeah.
So, look, I appreciate you coming on here with me.
Yeah,
we're going to have you back.
Absolutely.
Maybe
anytime.
after the whole Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg fight, we can get you back on here and talk about it and analyze it.
Well, you just call me up and we'll make the cage match happen between you and John. I'd love to be that referee.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see what happens there. I'm going to have to make it some kind of a fundraiser or something.
I'll be the first donor.
There you go. So we've had Benton Moss with us tonight. Super nice guy, doing great things in Rocky Mount. I really appreciate him coming on, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
I appreciate it, Sam.
Hey, I want to thank my guest Benton Moss for coming on with me tonight. We had a good time and a good conversation. Next week, in person, we will have Brittany Butler, the author of The Syndicate Spy. She is a retired CIA agent. So make sure you tune in for this. It should be a great interview. Hey, thanks for watching. See you soon.